When you look up at the night sky, have you ever really wondered, are we alone? For pretty much all of human history, that was a question for philosophers, not scientists. But in just the last few decades, everything changed. We found the answer. We live in a galaxy that is absolutely packed with other worlds. So let's dive into this incredible cosmic detective story.
Now, this idea, it's not exactly new. Way back in 1584, this Italian philosopher, Giordano Bruno, he looked up at the stars and he didn't just see points of light. He saw other suns. And from there, he made this incredible leap of logic. He imagined countless other worlds, just like ours, orbiting those distant stars.
But that's all it was for centuries. Just a dream, an idea. There was zero proof. I mean, think about it. Proving that a tiny, dark planet exists hundreds of light years away, it seemed completely impossible. So the real question was, how do you even begin to turn a philosophical guess into a scientific fact? And yeah, this is the heart of the problem. A star, like our sun, is about 1 billion times brighter than any light reflecting off a planet orbiting it. It's kind of like trying to spot a tiny firefly buzzing right next to a giant searchlight from miles and miles away. So astronomers had to get really, really clever.
So how did they crack the case? Well, it didn't happen overnight, that's for sure. It was this slow, careful process, full of false starts, some pretty controversial claims, and then, finally, a series of breakthroughs that completely changed astronomy forever.
Let's just look at the timeline here. I mean, people were making claims way back in the 1850s, but they could never be proven, and eventually they were just thrown out. The game really truly changed in 1992. That's when astronomers found planets orbiting a pulsar, which is wild, because a pulsar is the super dense corpse of an exploded star. And then came the big one, 1995. Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz found the very first planet around a star like our own sun.
And you have to understand, these first discoveries were just shocking. No one, and I mean no one, expected to find planets around a dead star. And 51 Pegasi b, it was a hot Jupiter, a gas giant bigger than our Jupiter, but whipping around its star in just 4 days. This threw everything we thought we knew about how solar systems form right out the window. It was the first sign that the galaxy was filled with worlds far stranger than we had ever imagined. Okay, so if you can't actually see these planets directly, how in the world do you find them? Well, astronomers came up with 2 incredibly clever, indirect methods that are responsible for pretty much all the discoveries we've made. First up, you've got the wobble. So as a planet orbits its star, its gravity actually gives the star a tiny little tug, making it wobble back and forth. We can't see the planet, but we can detect that wobble by looking at the star's light. Then there's the dip, which is also called the transit method. Basically, if a planet's orbit is lined up just right from our point of view, it'll pass in front of its star, and that causes a tiny, tiny temporary dip in the star's brightness. Think of it like a moth flying in front of a distant streetlight. And as it turns out, that dip method is by far the champion planet hunter. A whopping 76% of all exoplanets have been found this way. And that's largely thanks to NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, which just stared at one patch of sky for years, patiently watching for those little telltale dips in starlight. The wobble method, it comes in at a distant second. So we figured out how to look. We built the incredible tools to do it. So what did we find? The answer has, and this is no exaggeration, started a revolution in how we see the entire cosmos.
Over 6,100. That's the running tally of confirmed planets outside our solar system. Just let that sink in for a second. That number was 0 just a few decades ago. And what's really wild is that this is a moving target. That number is going up all the time.
And we're not just finding these lonely, single planets either. Oh no, we are discovering entire planetary systems. Over 4,500 of them so far. Some of them have multiple planets, just like our own solar system. For the very first time, we're taking a real census of our galactic neighborhood. And the crucial thing to understand here is the incredible diversity. We are finding a whole zoo of different kinds of planets out there. You've got your massive hot Jupiters, rocky super-Earths that are way bigger than our world, and even planets that might be covered entirely in water. Or, get this, molten lava. The variety is just mind-boggling. But here it is. This is the number that really changes everything. Based on all the data we've gathered, scientists estimate that there could be 40 billion Earth-sized planets in the just right zone for liquid water in our galaxy alone. 40 billion. That is the sheer potential for worlds like our own.
Which, of course, brings us to the ultimate question, right? With so many worlds out there, could any of them actually be like Earth? Could they, harbor life? This is where the search gets really, really exciting. So to narrow down that giant number, astronomers start with a concept called the habitable zone. You can just think of it as the Goldilocks zone. It's that sweet spot in an orbit around a star where it's not too hot, not too cold, but just right for liquid water to exist on a planet's surface, which, as far as we know, is a key ingredient for life.
So using this habitable zone as a filter, we've already found some amazing candidates. We're talking about worlds like Kepler 186f and TOI 700d. Both are about the size of Earth and in their star's habitable zone. But the most tantalizing one of all has to be Proxima Centauri b. It's a potentially rocky world orbiting the very next star over from our sun, just 4.2 light-years away. It's practically our next-door neighbor.
But, finding these worlds is really just the first step. The next great challenge is to actually study what their air is made of. Powerful new tools like the James Webb Space Telescope are now able to analyze the starlight that shines through an exoplanet's atmosphere, looking for the chemical fingerprints of things like water or methane, gases that could be a sign of life.
So we've gone from knowing about just 8 planets in our solar system to over 6,000 confirmed worlds, all in a single lifetime. We've proven that our galaxy is teeming with planets of every kind you can imagine. As we keep scanning the skies, the question isn't really if we'll find more planets. The real question is what kind of worlds and what secrets are still out there waiting for us.